Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Business Spotlight interview series. Today it's my great pleasure to host Eddie McGoldrick. Eddie is chairman of the electric storage company. And Eddie, delighted you could join us. How are you today?
I'm very well indeed.
Great. Look, why don't you take a couple of minutes and share with us who you are, what you do, and how long for?
Yeah, so as you said, my name's Eddie McGoldrick. I was the co-founder, along with my wife Anne-Marie, of what now trades as the electric storage company. My background is electricity. I worked for NIE for many, many years, but then we decided to set up a new business to see if we could bring renewables to people and businesses in a more intelligent and cost-effective manner. And that's what the electric storage company does. We set it up in 2017. We're now based here in Bedford Street in central Belfast, and we have about 32 people on the team now.
Fantastic. That's great achievement in a short period of time.
Yeah, it's been interesting along the way.
Good, good. So who's your ideal customer then?
Well, our ideal customer is a well-financed customer service company who wants to bring smarter, cheaper, greener electricity to their customers. They may already be in the electricity game, or they may want to enter the electricity provision game. So they would be ideal for us. Now, I prefer ones that are in a warm climate with good food and decent golf courses, but that's just me.
Yeah, that sounds like the ideal place. So, do you play much golf yourself?
I do indeed. I do indeed. I play every
And
week, and I'm not getting any better at all.
I was gonna say, obviously Northern Ireland, a world destination for fantastic golf courses. Which is your favorite here?
Oh, my all-time favorite, well, would definitely be Royal Portrush. Always, yeah.
Yeah, and the
It's
Open's coming
interesting.
back there soon.
Yeah, whenever I'm talking to clients from across the world, they're all enticed by the idea that, well, sure, we'll get a go round Royal Portrush when you come over to sign the contract. So that's definitely an inducement for them.
Excellent. So, what's been your biggest learning as a business owner, Eddie?
I think you have to learn from day one that it's not just about you. It's all about building a team. If you can build a team who have passion, mutual respect, and an unwavering commitment to doing their best for customers, then you're good to go. You'll have ups and downs. We often describe this as it's not a roller coaster. This is more like a bungee jump. You know, it goes from highs to lows incredibly quickly. But
Yeah.
if you have a good team around you, that will make it achievable for you.
Excellent. Really good analogy there. Yeah, the bungee jump far more than a roller coaster. I've been on many roller coasters, but they're nothing compared to a bungee jump. So, in your younger life, was this something that you always wanted to do? Own a business, run a business for yourself?
Yeah, when I was growing up, my dad ran his own business, and I always wanted to follow that. Now, he always advised me to get a good job with a pension.
Yeah.
So what I did was I got a good job with a pension, but I couldn't let it go. I had to set up we've now set up a couple of businesses. So once that gets into your blood, you have to see it through in one way
Yeah.
or
It's an itch you have to scratch.
yeah.
Very good. And what would have been the biggest issue you have faced or had to overcome?
Far and away, well, for us, we're a very innovative business proposition in the renewables game, never mind in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
So our biggest problem was raising capital. A few years ago, we went to London and Dublin to raise capital. And in London, my wife and I set up the company. They said, a couple of things, you're too Irish and you're too married. And I said, well, I can do something about one of those things. In Dublin, they said, well, you see, you've left EU now, so we wouldn't be interested in doing that. So Northern Ireland's got very small access to real venture capital that's prepared to stick with the business for an extended period. If I'd been coming up with an app where I could order pizza and beer and they were both delivered at the same time to my doorstep, I would have got lots of funding. But
Yeah.
doing something a bit more long term and complex, it's been a challenge. Now we're very lucky with the shareholders we now have, but that would be the biggest challenge. Um, it's also important that you get a fair hearing from your stakeholders. And what I mean by stakeholders are the people who sort of set down the rules of the game. Now, in electricity, it's highly regulated. It's very important service that's delivered to every home in the country. So therefore, you have to make sure that you get a good hearing with them and that they understand what you're trying to do. So capital and stakeholders would be my two biggest challenges to date.
Excellent response, Eddie. Really good learnings as well in your answers there. So during that whole process, then, what have you learned about yourself?
I'm surprised that I've stuck it for so long. When I came up with this idea, we have another business, but when I came up with this idea, I said to Anne Marie, sure, we'll try this. It'll be a gig. And,
Yeah.
sure, if it doesn't work, well, we'll move on. That was 7 years ago. And she keeps saying to me, is it started to be a gig yet? No, it's only half joking. We get an awful lot of pleasure out of the team that we've built and the success that we've had.
Right.
As I mentioned earlier, you have to be able to adapt to rapid changes in circumstances. At one stage we were sitting looking at our last £80 in the bank, and then at another stage you're in, say, Germany, signing a very significant contract that will move the business forward in the EU. So that's what I mean by a bungee jump. If you can handle both of them,
Yeah.
you'll do well. If you feel that it always has to be good news, setting up your own business is not the game for you.
Sure. So I guess resilience would probably be a good word to describe all of that.
Yeah.
It's a word that frequently comes up during these business spotlight interviews, is having that resilience.
And one of the things we found useful, we're now in city centre, but we started off in a place called the Innovation Factory up in
Yeah.
Springfield Road. And what was good about that was there were just two of us, then three of us, and we built up gradually. But what was good there was you had other startups in the same building. So when you were there late in the evening, there were other people there, and you could sort of swap stories over coffee. That builds your resilience when you realize you're not on your own. So it's important. My advice to you would be find a network like that. Find people who you can just open up to. They're not going to answer your problems, but you just need people that you can share your concerns with, or just offload some of this stuff, because they'll be in exactly the same boat.
Yeah. No, great advice. So, what has been the most surprising aspect of owning your own business? Don't tell me the £80 in the bank.
No.
Uh,
I think the most surprising thing has been the lack of imagination in large companies.
Okay.
We deal with some very big companies now, and I have done in previous careers, but there's very little actual imagination and willingness to grasp the challenge and the opportunity that climate change is bringing to us.
Yeah.
An awful lot of them are just hanging back and, well, we'll see. But there's huge opportunities in, whether you be in food, whether you be in agriculture, whether you be in IT like us. There's great opportunities in there, but people really need to go after those opportunities. And big companies sitting back, everything's comfortable.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing to highlight, because very often, coming from the background I came from, I would think big companies would be very innovative. They would have an R&D section and stuff they got there. But there are those big companies, like you say, that are just coasting as such.
Somebody told me once that an R&D department is where big companies send good ideas to die. But big companies, big decision-making processes, it's not straightforward. That's
Sure.
another thing I've really enjoyed about having our own company. We make our own decisions and we stand or fall by them, but at least you've made the decisions and you're moving on.
Totally. Yeah. Well, great. So, is there anybody in the business world, or even outside of the business world, that has been an inspiration for you?
Inspiration wise, I had several mentors on my way through the career in the electricity industry who were inspirational to me and very supportive to me. Dr. Patrick Harron would be one of those who I would always cite was great inspiration to me. In the wider business world, Dale Vince, who set up Ecotricity, is a real hero in this space. Went from being a new age traveller to setting up a really innovative company, and he's still fighting the good fight. Other people that I find inspirational because of the clarity of their thinking, one of them would be Mark Carney, who used to be the governor of the Bank of England.
Yeah.
He's written a very good book called Values, which I would recommend to people if they like reading books, if they want to get some clear thinking on how the world is moving forward in terms of finance and politics and so on.
Very good. And just on that note of books, then that's a great recommendation. Do you have a favorite book? Is that your favorite book or others?
I have many favorite books, and I do always try and read a lot. You know, I would read a lot of business books, I would read a lot of political biography and so on.
Yeah.
So no one favorite. Well, I have one favorite book, but it's a bit poncy. It's it's from when I was at school. There was a guy called Albert Camus who wrote a book called L'étranger, The Outsider. Great book, but you need to be a bit of a nerd at grammar school to get into it, you know. But in terms of business books, I read an awful lot of business journalism. And my advice to anybody would be you've got to keep yourself abreast of technology and politics and economics and so on. Great source would be Financial Times. It's an excellent newspaper, only bad at the weekend. That's all you need to do. The Economist is a great source. Bloomberg is another great source. So you've just got to keep yourself up to date on all of those things, because that will gently seep into your thinking. And also when you're talking to other people, they will be pleased to see that you're investing in yourself, if you like, and keeping your knowledge fresh.
Yeah. Again, great share. So we mentioned books there, some tabloids, etc.
I should have mentioned my favorite management
Okay, yeah.
guide, and that's the Godfather trilogy.
Oh, of course, yes.
Michael Corleone is my absolute hero when it comes to sorting out all family business. So
Yeah.
there are many references in there that we use frequently in the business here. So
Very good. Lots of offers that they can't refuse in there.
exactly, yeah.
Excellent. Well, do you listen to any podcasts or things like that there?
I listen to various podcasts. I listen to some energy industry podcasts that are very good.
Yeah.
I got into a very long series of podcasts during COVID on the Roman Empire, so it's very sad. But I would tend to listen to music more, and I
Yes.
can't do audiobooks. I used to try and do them when I was traveling a lot, and I always fell
Yes.
asleep. So I'd rather have music. Music would be my thing, you know.
Great. So tell me a wee bit more about music, and I know you have a certain gifting in there.
Well, no, I don't know about gifting, but that's how I ended up in the electricity industry.
Okay.
When I left school, I wanted to raise the money to buy a decent guitar. And I looked around for jobs. This was way back when jobs weren't as easy to get, but there were jobs. And I got two offers on the same day. One from a bank, which shall go nameless, and another from the electricity company. And I reckoned, well, the electricity company, I only need to work for a year to pay for this. You know, if I work for a bank, they hold you for life. I spent 30 years in the electricity company. But ironically, on the 20th anniversary of being with them, they give you a long service award,
Yes. Yeah.
which you can spend on anything. And they happened to have me in America at the time. So I was able to go and buy the guitar I always wanted to buy in a downtown Atlanta, Georgia, which is kind of a special experience to go through. So that's, why I ended up where I am, and which proves I'm a strategic genius. Do you know what I mean? But that would be my guilty pleasure, if you like. I'd play guitar every morning before I leave for work. So it's
Right.
it's very good for your head and for your soul.
Very good. Any particular genre that you like best?
I'm a big fan of the blues. My hero when I was growing up was a guy called Rory Gallagher, who came to Belfast and was a absolute icon to all of us, and had a very penchant for shirts, just like you're wearing. So he would have put on that shirt every time. So
Very good, thank you. So tell me, what does the future look like for yourself and the electric storage company, and what do you see as the biggest challenges going forward?
well, for us, and the biggest challenge facing us is decarbonisation, all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate in that our company is in the right place at the right time. So what we do is we've built a software platform that allows businesses and homes to make renewables easy to integrate into their business or life. But that has worked very well. We started here in Northern Ireland because that's, I knew everybody in the game here, so it was easy to get that stakeholder thing going that I talked about.
Yeah.
We've now expanded into the Republic of Ireland and GB, and we're now doing most of our work in Germany. I'm just back from Southeast Asia, where we have some interesting prospects out there in Malaysia and potentially Singapore. And in June,
Fabulous.
we're heading off to the eastern seaboard of the States to talk to some people there, because our platform, built here in Belfast, operates from Amazon Web Services in the cloud. Delivering that software into those markets is relatively easy. Now, we're fortunate that we've a great team here. One of the best things about Belfast is that you can get really, really talented people at reasonable costs.
Yeah.
And we've built a very good team. Within that team, therein lies the challenge, because you've got to keep that team moving forward and sharp and not always being, pushing the idea of the business forward. So that's why we have great opportunities, some challenges, but we're very lucky that people come looking for us. Our last 3 hires have come looking for us to say, oh, I like what you're doing, want to come to you. And I'm not knocking the banks, but several of them have been working in banks. Doesn't mean anything to them, whereas I see a purpose in what we do because of the
Sure.
whole decarbonisation journey.
Yeah. Fantastic. So what would you say to anybody today thinking of going into business?
If you like leading teams, if you really believe in customers, if you're not scared of bungee jumping, then this is the thing for you. But it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
We've talked a bit about resilience. You will have very, very, very dark days when you set up your own business, no matter how good the business is. But on the other hand, you'll never feel as good as when your business has one of its up days and everybody's buzzing and it's all there because of what you put into that business. So I would encourage anyone to do it. I would be, foolish not to warn you that it can be very, very tough. Then if it's worth having a go at, So, and what's the worst thing that can happen? Don't flipping put your house on it, or don't flipping put yourself in debt and danger of it. There's many, many ways to get into business without doing all of that. And also be very careful of your own resilience or lack of it. So you need someone in
Yeah.
your life who can say, going too far here, Ed, or step back a wee bit, So there's very important that you get support and advice for that. And that's, I would imagine, where the likes of yourselves could come in there coaching people how to do that. Because you don't
Very
really
much
know
so.
yourself until you've taken on those challenges, but well worth doing.
Very good. Really appreciate all the shares and all the advice. So just as we sort of round up, if you and we both wish we could turn the clock
Yeah.
right back, turn back time to when I had a full head of hair, let's say. What's the best piece of advice you would give an 18-year-old Eddie?
The advice I would give me would be to set down that guitar for a while and focus harder on my A levels. I had a really great time in my A level years. We're just across the road from the Ulster Hall here, and I went to see Thin Lizzy live the night before one of my exams. Not a good plan. Never a good plan. But I was lucky enough, I did all my degrees and PhDs and masters and so on, part-time, working up through the business. So working your way up can be interesting, but if you get a good solid education and grounding behind you, that's really important. So, my father's advice wasn't far off the mark. Get a good solid grounding, whatever your discipline is. Doesn't matter what the discipline is, really. It's, can you apply yourself? So my advice to the team would have been to focus a little bit more on that and less on Thin Lizzy and the Ulster Hall.
You'd have plenty of days in the future to play guitar.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very good. Well, look, Eddie, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on today. Really appreciate your time and all of your shares and advice. Great information for our community. I really appreciate it. And all the very best going forwards. Sounds like it's gone great so far, and you're getting to see a wee bit of the world at the same time. So
Yeah.
safe travels and all the very best going forwards.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.